Hello and welcome to another evening in the Lion's Den. I'm your host, Samuel Lejean, and today we are discussing with the professor himself, the profound professor, Richard Horn-Wallace, over a topic of statistics. Thank you for joining us. So I'm joined here with the man himself, Professor. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Professor.
And also, may I say that your introduction blew me away like
Wow.
the fiery breeze created in the draft of Apollo's chariot.
Your words are just so flattering.
Yes, they are.
Well, moving on now, if you could describe to the class, Mr. Assume, what your project was.
Well, you see, Samuel, it is now a hip and trendy new world out there.
That it is, definitely.
Where the internet is making part of many aspects of our lives, including social interaction.
Social interaction. Now, what is social interaction exactly?
Like the social networking sites as the befamed Facebook.
Facebook.
Yes.
Facebook. So how does this apply entirely to your whole project?
Well, you see, I was curious to see how many real, lesser intellectual people were engaged in these social networking sites.
So how did you, what did you do about that?
So I had my people conduct a survey
Your people?
all around the globe, including Australia.
Global.
Yes.
Now, how
indeed.
exactly, what kind of surveying did you do? I mean, know there's many types.
Well,
of
yes.
professor.
They were instructed to ask the people how many active memberships did they own on various different social networking sites that are famous. There's not only Facebook, but there's the Twitter, and the Stumble Upon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of these. Now, keep going. What else?
Right, and so they took track of how many people had a certain amount of sites, and we also kept track of which sites they belonged to.
Now, it says here that you did convenient sampling. Now, explain to me how did you do that, and what does it mean?
Well, convenient sampling is just we went out and we asked the nearest people. Made it very convenient, because I'm a very busy man of very high intelligence.
As a professor, I definitely understand that.
Yes.
So then, how many people did you survey entirely?
Well, 60.
60
around the
globally.
globe. Yes.
That is an exclusive survey.
Yes, it is.
Very
indeed.
nice, very nice. So let's look at some data, shall we?
All right, data.
So if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is called a frequency distribution chart.
You are correct.
Now
Good
explain
job.
this chart to me. What does this data mean?
Well, you see here, we have our class, which is how many sites, the number of sites that people are registered, and the frequency. 14 out of the 60 people had one site, and same goes on down the list.
Right, naturally. Now cumulative frequency.
Well, it's simple math, Samuel. You add the frequencies together, and you should end up with the amount of people you surveyed at the very bottom.
That is very wise. That is very wise. So relative frequency in degrees. How does that relate to
Well,
all
relative frequency is the equivalent of the percentile of the total frequencies.
Your words just blow me away.
Yes,
Off
they
my
should
feet, son.
be honored.
I am stunned.
And I then transferred those with my mind, no calculators, mind you, into degrees.
Extra
for the
credit,
pie
Mr.
chart.
Sir. Extra credit. Very well. Well, let's look at some more graphs, shall we? Graphs
Yes.
are always pretty good.
That is what we intellectuals would like to call a histogram.
Now, to us lesser folk, what does this mean?
Well, you see here we have the boundaries, which are more specific ways of listing the class. And in those boundaries, we've listed here with nice colorful blue bars.
Very pleasant blue, by the way. I enjoy your choice.
Yes. And on the y-axis, we have, once again, the frequencies. And this is basically a simple bar graph, showing.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe with my small amount of intellect that there should, in fact, they should be touching.
Oh, yes,
But-
but due to technological setbacks,
I gotcha. Okay.
they were unable to, unfortunately.
So now, in depth, what does this graph tell you?
Well, let's take this large blue graph right here. It tells us that 18 people have registered to me that they have somewhere in between 2.5 and 3.5 sites that they are accounted for.
Interesting.
Yes,
Interesting.
yes, indeed.
So moving on. I'm enjoying the color choice in this one. The red and black really
Oh,
accents.
yes.
Now, besides the aesthetics, what? Why?
Well, right here, this is what we'd like to call a frequency polygon. And it is a line graph, would mind you. But in here, we have the midpoints of our class boundaries. Yes, what you saw earlier in the histogram. And that gives you a different reading, shall you, of the data. And once again here we have the frequency. And we'll use the same plot. 18 had 3 sites. 18 people.
There's something that sticks out to this graph, though. I mean, I see 2 points here that both say 0.
Oh yes, that is the fundamental rules and laws of the graphs
Wow.
set together by ancient Greek philosophers.
Sounds very,
Yes, indeed.
very rash. Alright, well, you know. An ogive!
Don't impersonate me, Samuel.
Sorry,
Yes.
describe this ogive, what it is.
Well, in my highly intellectual opinion, I would say that the ogive is the most complicated of the 3 graphs.
Complicated, wow.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, first of all, you can see it is very similar to a
I do-
frequency polygon.
I do recognize
Yeah.
the similarities is.
But the difference between the two, frequency polygon and ogive, is that the ogive uses cumulative frequency, which is a continuous sum of the frequencies.
Wow.
And that gives you a line pattern that will constantly go up. And an ogive can never go down.
That's insightful.
Yes.
That is insightful. Well, I believe we have some more graphs to observe.
Well, as we come closer to the end, this is the last chart I would like to show you. It is called the Pareto chart.
Protochart. Now, if you could you name out these websites for me?
Yes. We have the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter, Tumblr, other, stumble upon, Instagram, and Flickr.
Now, I noticed that these are all in some kind of
Yes.
an order. Could you
Descending order.
descending, and the reason behind that?
Well, I like to think of the Pareto chart as the simple man's histogram. You see, it just goes from highest to lowest every time.
Okay.
So, lesser intellectuals like yourself, David, so they can see a more, steady decline approach rather than the mismangled jungle of the intellectual histogram. Yeah.
You coming to the end with your whole project, if we call it. Is that right, Doctor?
Yes. Professor.
Professor. Sorry about that. What's your conclusion, thoughts? I mean, was your hypothesis completed? How can you improve on it? I mean, let's. What's the final word?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say it's been a wonderful time on this show in the Lion's Den.
Ooh, it has.
Most impressive.
Mhm.
Yes. As for the conclusion of my research, I would like to say, as always, my hypothesis was proved correctly.
Really? Now
Yes.
how so?
Because as I said before, I hypothesized that most people were going to have at least 3 social media sites.
Which,
Mm,
as there were. I mean,
Yes. And the majority of those people would have a Facebook, as Facebook being the #1 trend on the internet right now.
Now, is there any way that you could improve on your research, your project?
Yes, there is. We could break it down more specifically. We could correspond subject to age group and see which age group trends to the information presented above in my presentation. Yes.
Interesting. All right. Well, Doctor, Professor, it has been a great pleasure.
Shed many a laugh, David.
Many a laugh, that for sure. Now tune in next week. We got a surprise for you. We're gonna dip into biology. Thanks for having us.
The wisdom of science.